Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Crypto, Coffee and LoFi. Had a day off making this episode yesterday. Ended up jumping on a stream with TED Talks Macro. If you want to see that, go and check my Twitter. I retweeted the links there. I'll be posting just a cut up version of the whole stream. It went for about an hour and a half, so there's a lot of source dropped in there, so go and check it out. Starting off with Bitcoin, the short bias that I had has been invalidated. We saw a strong daily close as well. So now that, if you go check out the previous episode, you would have seen that as long as we were maintaining this bearish structure here, being sweeping highs, breaking structure to the downside, sweeping highs, breaking structure to the downside, sweeping highs, breaking structure. As long as we maintain this bearish structure, I was looking for these lows to be swept. And either until the lows were swept or we started invalidating the structure, then I was thinking we were going to be in a temporary downtrend, at least on the 15 minute and the hourly. But now that these levels have been invalidated, get rid of them. We didn't quite test this previous accumulation here, but that's fine. Didn't quite take the lows either. Bitcoin and Ethereum both looking really strong, even on the daily here. Alright, so this is looking pretty obvious. I think we're about to break out of this level, out of this range, sorry. The first level that I'll be looking at to take profit will be around 56k. So obviously this whole consolidation here is the previous resistance, but if we want to get an exact level, we need to look at where the distribution actually started. So here we have a high that's swept, a high that's swept. This is the low that's responsible for taking that high. We did have the retest here, but since the massive drop off, we haven't really retested it. So as long as we don't see obvious distribution from this level, then we should really be good to continue up into all-time highs. Even if we do see distribution at this level, I think it'll just be to have price push back down into support, where I think we'll then see a continuation. We saw this big drop off, all of this consolidation, accumulation all throughout this range. If we were to accumulate all throughout here, I doubt that we're just going to drop off after retesting the resistance, and there's no sign of higher time frame distribution anyway. On the 15 minute to the hourly, we had distribution. That's all been invalidated now, and there's absolutely no sign to be looking for shorts on the H4 and above. So for a day trade, swept out this low, broke above the high. If you're new here, I'm just using the same pattern to enter and exit positions, the same pattern to find accumulation and distribution, and I use this same pattern for every single trigger and every single exit as well. So if you're interested in the way I trade or the way that I'm analyzing these charts, click the link in the description below, pick up a copy of the strategy, get access to a Discord, see all of my live trades. There's over 300 people in there, all working on this strategy, all thinking of ways to improve it as well. So check that out. So we swept out a low here. Here's the eyes responsible for taking that low, and we broke above it. Yes, we did retest, but this still isn't quite enough for me to enter along. I'd need to see another retest and followed by another confirmation. So just the same pattern again. If this level does fail, however, because we have swept out all of these highs, then I would expect lower prices. And I would expect my lower levels to get tested. So if this level does break, then I think we head further down to 45.3. And then if this breaks, like I went over in the previous episode, looking at around 40k. As my internet shut itself. I'll be back. Alright, sorry about that. The internet just cut out. So yeah, we need this level to hold. If this level doesn't hold, then I'm expecting around 45k for a retest. And then if this level fails, we're going back to 40k. But for now, I think waiting for another confirmation to get long into 55k is probably the smarter play. ETH, just taking a look at the daily here, there's literally no resistance. Today, leading into London or even New York, any double confirmation entry on the lower time frames would be a great long entry into all-time highs. Okay, so what's a double confirmation? Just the same pattern forming inside of itself. So here we have a low that swept, breaking above the high, then forming the same pattern again once we retest. Let's see if we have any levels on the hourly. Not really anything, so I'll just be on the 5-minute and the 15-minute charts, just waiting for a sweep, breakage structure, sweep, breakage structure. Once I get it, going long into all-time highs. SRM. It's an interesting chart here. On the higher time frames, this is obviously bullish. I'm just not sure on a trigger or an entry at the moment. I think over the next few days, as ETH and Bitcoin push up into all-time highs, SRM, Ray, and Avalanche will probably be some of the best plays. We also have Dino coins picking up a bit. IOTA looks good. I'll go over that setup. Alright, so really looking at this chart, all-time highs are the obvious target, but we do have this untested base. So we saw this massive drop off here, and since the massive drop off, we haven't really come back up to test this level. So if we are going to see an expansion, around $1.60 seems to me like a obvious target. Rather than expecting all-time highs for this, I think taking profit there would be the smarter play. So we have a sweep of a level, breaking above the high that's responsible for taking that low, and then we form the same pattern again on the retest. Sweeping a level, breaking above that high. Now we are looking at a daily setup here, so I would need a daily close below. Once we do see that, hopefully then on the H4 we can see a re-entry leading into the weekend. AVAX. So this pattern is kind of reminding me of Bitcoin. So we have this consolidation here, the massive drop off, and then the peak above resistance. Now we saw something similar over here. Here we have the consolidation, the massive drop off, and here is where we are on Avalanche. I think we see a decent push up. Whether we retrace like this, that's a different story, but I definitely think we see a push up over the next few days to a week. Back over to Avalanche. So we're retesting resistance, now turn support. We go on to the hourly. We've taken out all of these equal lows. And we've broken structure here on the H4. Alright. So now that we've swept out this level, if you aren't in yet, I'd probably wait for some more confirmations. So here is the first conf. Now that we've swept out those equal lows, we would need to break up above this high. Do something like this. Once we do break up above, you look to get long on the retest. Hopefully that just lines up with the trend line perfectly, and if it does, then we should be good for a move up. I think at least into $100. What else was I looking at? The memes. RSR. So similar setup to Avalanche. Swept out all of these equal lows. Looking to scalp into the highs here. Once we do get a daily close and above this high, then we should be good for a substantial rally all the way to all-time highs. No worries, so I'm going to call it there. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Leave some feedback. How can I improve these episodes? If you like the way, or you're interested in the way that I'm trading and analyzing the charts, click the link in the description below. Pick up a copy of the strategy. Alright guys, enjoy the rest of your day. See you tomorrow.